has very, very powerful jaws, some of the strongest in the world. At this size, it can easily be recorded up to 3,000 pounds per square inch of biting force, which means he crushes his prey. So when you look at their teeth, you may notice they're not as sharp as you would think. They're actually quite dull, very short, but they're made for grabbing his prey and holding it down. As they get closer to him, they realize he's not moving around a whole lot, but he is lifting his head up higher. He's kind of taking a more dominant stance. Had he been actually in the water and floating, he'd actually have his tail sticking up out of the water as well. This is actually a dominance posture that they'll use for other male alligators as well as people. Now, because he cannot see directly in front of him, he's actually smelling and hearing me right now. He also has very sensitive nerves on the outsides of his jaws and around his eyes that can sense movement of the water. This is where a lot of accidental bites happen in the wild. People are wading around in murky waters. The alligator might not be able to see you, but he can feel you moving around. And if you bump into that alligator, see that little twitch there? Had that been underwater, he would have grabbed a hold of whatever it is that's bumping into him. They're so accurate at detecting movement in the water that even if his eyes are shut, if something swims past, he knows the size, speed, and directionality of the animal that's moving around nearby, and he can strike with great accuracy and grab a hold of them. Now, as he strikes for his prey, he's mainly using that tail. If it's forward, if it's side to side, these guys have a quite flexible spine, and if he wanted to, he can bring his head to right here in just a couple seconds. These guys are very, very, very stealthy, but out of nowhere can explode with a great amount of speed. Come on, turn around. Now right here, I do have to be careful because not only can he swing his head around, but his tail is also used as a powerful weapon. As you can see, again, he has large fat reserves on either side of his tail, but it's mostly muscle. The end of it here, mostly just cartilage and hard bony tissue and hard skin, basically creates like a large whip. And it can be used for defense, and at that size would snap my legs the same way you could snap a dry piece of spaghetti. The alligator's jaws are well protected, so that if he does go after larger prey with hooves and or claws, solid bone will keep them from getting really banged up too badly. Also, when they do get into fights, males will actually bang their heads together until one finally gives up. The eyes are protected with a ridge of bone around the outside that as his eye closes, the eyeball itself goes down into the skull. So as you watch closely, watch his eyes go down. That way he's well protected, a large bony ridge around it. His ears are just behind his eyes there, and they're covered by a very large cartilage-like flap that helps protect him from any debris getting in there. Fortunately, you can't see it right this second, but the back of his throat is closed off with what we call a glottis. So when they open up their mouth, you may notice you cannot see down their throat. That is what allows them to go underwater, catch the prey without drowning themselves. Because he cannot see directly in front of him, very accurate at striking where his prey was, he loses sight of him, so he actually cannot see inside of his mouth. Realistically, if I wanted to, I could put my head inside of his mouth. Yikes. Again, if I wanted to. The reason why I don't want to is because even a drop of water touching his tongue, he will automatically shut. It is a reflex. It's the same as your knee has a reflex when it's hit and your leg kicks out. You cannot help it. He will automatically shut down with all of his might. So I can put the stick in there with no problem, because I can also buy a new stick for eating. But if I touch his tongue, he clamps down automatically. Really quickly. Oh. Good boy. Try to get him to turn around here real quick. You can see he doesn't really move around very quickly unless it's necessary. When he does move from point A to point B, he just kind of meanders around, conserving as much energy as possible. Because he does not know when he's going to need that bout of energy again. Once he uses it up, he becomes very, very tired, and it takes a long time for him to recuperate. For two reasons. We use what we call aerobic respiration. In other words, when we exert ourselves and use up the oxygen in our blood, we have to kind of replace it. So our heart rate and our respiratory